All right. Well, welcome everyone to the Digital Factor powered by WSI, your fastest way to learn digital. Having a strong digital presence has quickly moved from a nice to have to a must have over the past few years. There are so many buzzwords and tactics out there for businesses and brands, and they're often confused about where to start or what they should do. Said differently, digital marketing is complicated. We simplify the internet. In our first episode of the Digital Factor, you'll walk away with that's right, four marketing trends that will work for B2B. I'm Kelly Biggs, and I have over 25 years of sales and marketing experience, and I have the pleasure today of being with three of my favorite colleagues and digital marketing experts. Why don't I have each of you tell us all something about yourself, about your history, and a fun fact? I will start with you, Vic.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Thanks, Kelly. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. My name is Vik Sharma. As your digital strategist, I bring 25 years of helping companies solve problems and innovate to grow their business. So, my fun fact is that before the age of 10, I lived in 5 different countries.
Hi, everyone. I'm John Maniatis, thrilled to be here. I have over 25 years of experience in the investment management and financial services industry, mainly in leadership roles across customer service, operations, and marketing. One interesting thing about me is that my number one hobby is always has always revolved around exploring different types of music around the globe. And I've been lucky enough to have my son. He bought me an album recently, and it pertains to amazing jazz out of Ethiopia. So I'm enjoying that right now. Jim.
Thanks, John. Glad to be here. My name is Jim Falatico. I have 25 plus years of global sales, marketing, and operations experience, manufacturing products for industrial, contractor, and homeowner channels. A fun fact for me is I really enjoy hiking. I didn't always enjoy hiking, but my wife did. But now I really enjoy it now. My most memorable experience, I guess, is we hiked in Tuscany during an anniversary trip a few years ago. So I am getting more and more into it. Kelly, give us your fun fact.
Well, all of those are fun. Mine is that I love Peloton. I'm an avid rider. Recently finished my 1500th ride. And for all of those who are other Peloton riders out there, follow me at Big Wheels. Thanks again, everyone, for joining the Digital Factor, powered by WSI, your fastest way to learn digital. We are now going to get into the meat of the topic and what I'm really excited for. Each of my colleagues have prepared a marketing trend for business and, which is really exciting, a practical tip that you can walk away and leverage today. If you have any questions, please be sure to put them in the chat and we should have time to get through at least one. Okay, Vic, let's start with you.
All right. Hello, everyone, again. And John, I need a copy of your playlist.
You got it,
So,
Vic.
all right, thanks. So, I want to start our conversation by talking about the 600-pound gorilla in the room called COVID. And why? Because it has really fundamentally changed how we live, work, and play, right? So just for a moment, I want you to think about how you felt when overnight the conferences, the trade shows, the face-to-face meeting that we depended on to fuel our sales pipeline just disappeared, right? So, I was at a pharma trade show last week in New York. These channels I saw are slowly coming back. However, it's never going to be the same as it was before COVID, right? So the crisis forced us to innovate quickly and how we engage with our buyers of our services and products, right? The result is that buying journey and the buying habits have fundamentally changed. So I want to share with you two stats from a recent McKinsey study. One is that three-quarters of buyers and sellers prefer self-service, and two, only 20% of B2B buyers, right, want to return to the old ways, right? So what do these stats tell us, right? They tell us that business need to do things differently and definitely more digitally, right? So building on this theme, the trend I want to talk about is marketing to one. And what I mean by that is that this is where you become so intimate with your customers that you know what they need even before they know they need it, right? So my tip is to use data and the power of data analytics to understand the new customer buying journey. So what does that mean? It means that research a customer's need, their buying habits, where they hang out virtually, and give them that hyper personalized experience and make them feel like you're speaking to them one-on-one. With that, I'll give it to you, John, for your tip.
Thanks, Vic. I want to pick up where Vic left off and continue on the theme of COVID. So post-COVID, B2B leaders are finding that their employees really want more meaning out of their daily lives. And most of the research is showing that companies who really get this right and have a strong purpose are the ones that tend to outperform. So really, we're seeing a shift up back to the top of the sales funnel, and companies are really taking a much stronger look at brand building. It's a really great time to step back and look at where your brand needs to go. In terms of my tip today, though, I thought we would pick up on a LinkedIn tip since we're on LinkedIn Live. And I wanted to stay on the theme of building your brand. LinkedIn gives you a tool called showcase pages, which become an extension of your company. Showcase pages are all about showcasing your brands, your product brands, a business unit, and even more importantly, company initiatives that you want to stand out. Kelly is kind enough to show us one of the key ones I researched by Ernst& Young, and it's the Ernst& Young Women Fast Forward Showcase pages. Ernst& Young is using this as a global platform, not only for their employees, but for their clients and communities. And it already has 48,000 followers. There are some amazing posts on this. I recommend you taking the time to look through it. Posts like 2021's Most Powerful Women. So with these showcase pages, I'm going to go back to what Vic was talking about. You really need to focus on that one key target audience. You need to look at their needs. You need to look at the content that you're posting and making sure it's relevant. As you saw with Ernst& Young, you also need to have a great, strong hero image. You need to focus on the purpose of that page. And we all know the importance of video posts. So use video posts as much as possible to increase engagement. Don't forget with showcase pages to keep the name of the page short and to the point so that doesn't get truncated when you post it. And last but not least, we all know this about LinkedIn. Always remember, post every day and post often. Jim.
Those are great tips, John. And just for those joining, you have joined the Digital Factor, your fastest way to learn digital. Vic, you talked a little bit about personalization. I saw an interesting tweet that's appropriate at this time where it says, if you think personalization is using the first name of your customer in an email, do better.
Spot on. Spot on, Kelly.
Exactly. Jim, let's go on over to you.
Okay, great. So to build on what Vic and John were talking about, my trend, which is completely obvious, is that businesses had to change their sales and marketing tactics because of the pandemic. But what makes it a little bit different is some companies just chose to tweak what they were doing currently. They posted on LinkedIn a few more times. They may have tried out other social media platforms, or they emailed their prospects and their customers a few more times just to try to engage. Other companies really embraced digital marketing strategies. They incorporated it into their SOPs and their culture. So where does your company stand? My tip is to do a competitive analysis to see where you stand. Pick your top three competitors, and see how they've adapted. Are they falling behind? Have they outpaced you? So the easiest, quickest, and cheapest way, since it's free, is to do a Google search. Just pick one of your top services or products, type it into search, and see what comes up. Obviously, at the very top, you'll see the ads. So what competitors of yours are paying to try to win that business versus just a regular search? Who ranks organically? So the next section is just your organic search. Who ranks organically? Are they in the top 3 or 4? And what does that mean? That means that Google found their websites has great content. and it gives them authority to show up where they do. So maybe they're blogging a lot. Check out their blogs and see if they're dusty or see if they've blogged recently. The other thing to do is check out the section right below that is the people also ask section. That's an area where you can find out if maybe you're off on your key terms. Maybe you'll find in that area where they're asking questions but using different terms. Maybe you're using too much jargon, who knows? But you'll learn a lot with that. The other thing you can do is check out the social media platforms that you participate in. Check your competitors out, see if they're posting, see how many followers they have, and rank yourself versus where they stand. And lastly, do another analysis of where you are compared to your competitors and change your strategies. And if you do that, you'll be ready to win. So Kelly, give us your tip, please.
Well, I feel like each of you touched a little bit on mine and kind of stole my thunder, but I won't hold that against you guys this time. But first, Vic talked about the thing that we can't avoid, which is that COVID kind of changed everything. And what I wanted specifically talk about is something both John and Jim you touched on, which is social media. And so, how has social media specifically been impacted by COVID, and has it? The answer is yes, it has, and to the effect that people are now spending more than 2.5 hours per day on average on social media. So that means that it's no longer an option whether or not you as a brand or business are going to play in social media, but rather where you're going to play. What's interesting when I was preparing for the podcast or the broadcast that we're doing here is that one thing that stuck out the most to me was there was a survey by Slicker, and they surveyed people about social media. Interestingly enough, 73% of people have an overall negative sentiment. And with what's going on with Facebook, no surprise there. But one of the things that they did, one of the shining stars are TikTok. In that same survey, TikTok had over a 57% positive sentiment. So it got me to thinking, like, why? Like, what is it about TikTok? And if you think about it, one is video. And I think video is a power play for any business right now, especially because people do not expect you to have a full finished video. There will always be a need for you to have that, but just on your everyday and your social is not as important. But more importantly, though, is being authentic and really connecting people with your authentic self, especially Gen Z can see right through you. So don't try to be fake, just be true to your brand. When I'm speaking to my clients and customers, one of the things I'm hearing very often from them is that they are struggling to find talent. So here's my tip, and listen in. You can use video to your advantage. What about just turning on Zoom, hitting the record feature, and having some of your employees that are going to be that are currently in that position that you're recruiting for, talk about what it's like to work for you, what's your culture, how they work. And that way you can use your existing employees to recruit talent. And so that's a win-win for everybody. You're touching on being authentic and all those things. So that's my tip. And that wraps up our 4 marketing trends that came quick. And that's the whole point of this. We want to give you something very digestible for you to take on maybe before you head into lunch. More of these, the 4 tips, just as a quick reminder, was use personalization, especially in the wake of what we're seeing right now. One-to-one marketing is extremely important. We talked about the showcase pages that John highlighted, and then Jim talked about doing competitive analysis, and mine is using video when you're doing that social thing. We can go to questions, but I don't see any questions, and I'm looking in comments. Do any of y'all see any? I think that that's where
No,
they
not
would
yet.
be. Okay, I think that that's where they would be. This is our first one, so take us through our growing pains, guys. And you know what? Again, in the interest of times, what I'll say is this: why don't we? This is a perfect thing for you to do. We have a page, the Digital Factor, out on LinkedIn. So if you could just look for that, and if you have any questions, if you post your question, I promise we'll answer those for you. And I know, John, you were going to kind of give them few more tips and maybe even a video about how to do a page out on LinkedIn.
Absolutely. That's next on the list. So be on the lookout for a little video either on Loom or Vidyard, which gives you the step-by-step on how to build your own showcase page.
That would be awesome. And then we're going to do this thing again on November the 17th. So be on the lookout. We'll send the information, and the same way you found this, you'll be able to find it. If you found it of value, let us know. If not, just hide that somewhere. No, all feedback is a gift. So thank you guys so much for joining. This has been a pleasure and valuable information, team. Oh, I do see I see a question, just real quick. If you want to go for it.
Yeah, go
Let's
for it.
do it.
Yeah.
Okay, the question is, can Vik expand a little bit on using data when marketing one-to-one?
Wow, that's a very good question. So my short answer is this: Google Analytics is your best friend.
Mhm.
And what I mean by that is that when you have embedded Google Analytics in your website, when you go into Google Analytics, you will see tremendous amount of data around traffic. But what I'd like to focus on for marketing one is behaviors. Use that data to understand your customer's journey, their behaviors, and then you can market them to very specifically to that one person. I hope that's helpful.
I love it. I love it. So again, thank you guys, and thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you so much, everybody.
See ya.
Looking forward to the next one.
Same here.
Bye-bye.
guys.
Be well.